What follows is an excerpt from our conversation in which Howard tells a first-hand account of one of the greatest non-events in the history of the University of Colorado.
Well, you're talking about answering back, and I didn't seem to be a very good person to tease by the revolting students. And so consequently, I got recruited by the president at that time, Fred Thiem, to sit in on plans to try to cool the riots. Boulder did the best job of anywhere in the world in not having any violence on this campus. I say any, practically any. It's debatable about a couple of dynamite that went off and killed some people up at Chautauqua. That may have been a part of the movement. Some people planted bombs under President Thiem's car in his driveway that blew up. He wasn't in the car. But compared to other schools where there were people killed, and Kent in Cambodia, Kent where the students were shot, and Fort Collins, there's a great article on this in a British magazine called How to Save a Campus, describing in minute detail how President Thiem cooled it in Boulder. He was brilliant. And he did it on the telephone from Chadron, Nebraska, and I was physically present there with him. We were on our way up to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, where he was going to attend the inauguration of the new tribal chief. We were working on a program of reciprocal Indian students on the Boulder campus, Native American students on the Boulder campus. Persuaded the president to go up and participate in this thing. There was a riot on this campus in the Old Main. the Regent Building, which Thiem was a very funny man, by the way. President Thiem was, and he when he looked at that great hall, in Regent, where you pay, what I'm talking about 4 stories of balconies, and he said this was designed for student riots. There were 2,000 students on the floor down there. Yeah. 5 demands, 10 demands. And here he was. I met him at the airport, Thiem, and he'd flew in from Washington. And he said, I got to go to Boulder. My campus is on fire. And I said, no, Fred. And I said a funny remark. I said, Fred, the campus is in very good shape for the shape it's in. And I said, we got to go to Chadron to get to Pine Ridge. You only had 20 minutes to get over to the plane, the prop plane, and went to Chadron. What Fred did, we got to Chadron in the hotel before going on over to Pine Ridge the next day with a British journalist who was with us by the name of Henry Fairley, who happened to hear the whole thing, and that's how the article got written. And President Thiem got on the phone, called back to the building, and it was occupied. The Regent building was occupied. There was a danger of it being burnt down, like they did burn down the one in Fort Collins. People were livid with rage over the killing of the students in Kent, Cambodia, by the National Guard. And there was a real high rage of tension. So Thiem got on the phone, and he said he had all his staff out on that upper balcony. Vice President Manning, Vice President Rautenstrauss, Vice President Corbridge, the whole gang. And he said, okay, get your megaphones. Get the 13 officers on the campus, if it was 13, have them take off their guns and come out unarmed onto the balcony, stand there unarmed, and make the following statement over the bullhorn. Make it over and over and over. Say, all right, students, these are your campus policemen. These are your policemen. They're here to protect you. They're here to protect your hi-fi sets in your dorm rooms. They're here to protect your cars, those of you who have them parked here. They're here to protect your property and allow you to move safely through this campus. They're your own policemen. You can kill them. If you decide to kill them, you can. Of course you can. There are 10, 20,000 of you. There are 13 of them. But if you kill them, the Boulder police will come in. And the Boulder police will be armed. And they're here to protect your property in the rooming houses in Boulder town and around the town and in the hills and on Flagstaff and Chautauqua, where you park at night. And They're your policemen. However, you're 20,000. You can kill them, and they can't defend themselves against you if you want to kill them. But if you do, the county sheriff will come in. He's got 185. They're armed too, and they're here to protect you as you park up and drive up Boulder Canyon and Nederland and around the mountains. And you can kill them. There are only 185 of those. And if you do, however, then the National Guard will come. No, then the Courtesy Patrol will arrive. There are 555 of those. And they'll protect you all over the state as you're driving around. Therefore, they're here to keep order, protect your property and your lives. You can kill them. And when you do, in will come the National Guard. And when it arrives, you can't kill them. And you'll be the ones that arm the campus. Now, if you want to arm the campus, do it. You can't kill them. Okay, Manning, start over. Get your bullhorn. Say, okay, here are the 13 campus police. They're not armed. They're here to protect your... He went through the whole thing again. And he went through it again, and again, and again. Starting at 11 at night, 12, 1, 2. Meanwhile, Governor Love had moved up to Boulder with the National Guard and had taken up a headquarters in the Wardenburg building. President Thiem got on the phone and said, John, this is Fred. It's my campus, John. It's my campus. I want you to get out of there as fast as you can. I don't want one student on this campus to get wind of the fact that you brought the threat of force and violence onto this campus. It's my campus, John. I didn't hear John's side. Governor Love. It's my campus, John. Take your guardsmen. Shut down your office. Go back to Denver. Leave me in charge of this, John. It's my campus, John. John, I want you to leave my campus now. John. This went on for 30 minutes. Slowly, Governor Love, couldn't hear his side of the conversation, but he was parked in his new office in Wardenburg building. He talked him off into leaving. And I never saw anyone win by pleading weak. And what he told all these students is how weak he was. My 13 unarmed policemen against 20,000 rioting students. Would you feel brave and proud of yourselves if you kill those guys? How are you going to tell your kids about it? How we killed those 13 policemen. Who? Oh, we 20,000 young men. And he went on with the bullhorn, and slowly people started to leave. And about 5:30 in the morning, something like that, they looked around. There were only 72 left in the place. There had been 2,000 in there. And they looked at each other and said, let's clean up the mess and declare a victory. Went, yeah, laughing. And left. And this is all written in a book, in an article which I'll give to you if you want to read it. And it's called How to Save a University. And it's all about Fred Thiem's miraculous defusing of the violence when other universities were in real trouble because they fought. And every piece of attempt to use force resulted in the students escalating their force. You see what I mean? And this just diffused it. I mean, they saw the silliness of the whole thing. And then we had, when the students started to riot, he called a meeting of the leaders of the riot in Mackey Auditorium. He had the entire faculty in the lower floor of Mackey at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. And then he invited the balcony to be entirely full of students, and he hired a sound truck outdoors. So a couple thousand, 3, 4, 5,000 students were out there on the grass listening from outdoors. And then Thiem presided over, and he arrived in a white shirt, sleeves rolled up, no necktie, no jacket, and said we were going to take motions. Bit by bit, sympathetic faculty got up and made motions. And the motion was, we will never buy anything more at Wynne Kinsley's. The capitalist structure is decadent and is exploitive, and all those in favor, and then they would pass. The motion would pass. The faculty would vote for the motion, 2,000 to 8. And they'd record it. See, it was just calm as a cucumber and say, all right, next motion. Somebody got up and moved that we never ride in any conveyance that had built by a company or that had stocks in military stuff. So no one would ever again ride in an airplane built with people who had military, which is all up. Meant you'd vote never to ride in an airplane. It would pass 2008. And then they voted, went on and on and on. Finally, Bert Morris of philosophy made a motion. We will never take another drink of alcohol. It's a corrupt, the motion passed 2008. And then they voted not to wear robes at commencement. No, not to wear robes at commencement. And President Thiem said, well, that of course will do away with the custom of wearing nothing under them. And slowly the goodwill and humor got to people. They saw how silly they were being so mad at so many people. And finally, suddenly, it was the most gorgeous thing I ever saw. They all wore armbands. They had white armbands tied around their arms. They were the militant leaders, 500 students. That means they were like the French Revolution. They were the sergeants, self-appointed. They were all wearing those, the ones upstairs in the balcony, the whole balcony. So they came forward and suddenly started dropping these armbands. They floated down and lit on the faculty. And it was a sort of I love you scene. Because the faculty passed all these ridiculous motions in support of their everything they were pushing for, which is silly. I mean, there wasn't one of them in the wide world is going to give up going in an airplane back to Chicago or driving a Ford motor car that daddy gave. But they were playing like it was. They were enacting this Puritan, moral, high principled position. The whole capitalist system was decadent and needed to be overthrown and everything. So as we left the auditorium, Bert came over to me and said, come over and have a drink, Howard. I said, I can't. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, you made the motion that we weren't trying to drink alcohol anymore, and it passed 2007. He said, oh, come on. But Fred, just handle this. And nobody was mad at the administration then. Nobody was mad at the faculty on this campus. It didn't polarize into we, they. See what I mean? Yeah. It was fantastic. I could never have done that. I mean, the idea of using weakness as a defense is something that's never occurred to me.
To do it successfully.
Huh?
To do it successfully.
To do it at all. I mean, I gave you those bad illustrations. I wasn't gentle with the British lady or the Unitarian man. I mean, it's not my skill. It's just a fact. But I was just utterly impressed with him. I just realized how fabulous it was. And of course he didn't get an awful lot of credit for it. You know why? He was having things not happen. And it's very hard to get lots of stories about things that didn't happen.